So today I'm going to show you how to change brakes on a 2002-ish Chevy pickup. This is actually 1998, but I stuck a disc brake rear end in it. So it would have had drums originally, but I'm going to try to show you some parts, numbers, tools you need. As you can see, I had some difficulties. I didn't show you taking it apart because I was swearing and throwing wrenches. Obviously, make sure you use safety. Put yourself one of them fancy jack stands underneath there. That's why you got a jack there also. In case something happens, don't let it fall on you. But there's pretty much tools you're going to need. 18mm. This is a T55. I don't know if you can read it or if it'll focus on it, but 11mm. That'll take your brake line off, but you shouldn't have to do that if everything goes correctly. But mine did not, obviously. Bleeder will be a 10. And one of these, or a hammer. This is what us farm boys call fencing pliers. It's a hammer slash knife slash cutter. All does one. I always keep one in my pickup, just in case you ever need one on the side of the road for something silly. Here's your part numbers if you have to order parts. So I got all these off Rock Auto, but these are pads for the rear, both sides. Comes with all your fancy stuff that you need. And here's your caliper number for the passenger side. I'm sure the driver's side changes a little bit, but makes that easy. Y'all probably seen old Rock Auto. If you haven't, check it out. You can get some pretty good deals on that. But your 18 will be taking off that to bolts right there. That's the first thing you want to take off. You see, I already got it all off, but I'm just going to try to mimic it and then show you how to put it together. You can't figure out how to take your wheel off, you probably shouldn't be doing this to begin with. Just saying. And your T55 is going to be these fancy dancy units, which is where I ran into lots of issues because I got one to come out and the other one got rounded off with the impact because it would not come out. Why they decided to use that besides a regular bolt, I have no idea. But you know how that works. Sometimes their designs aren't the greatest. Once you get your caliper off, you got to remove those two bolts, like I was saying. The best way to do that, if you got one of these bad mamma jammas, that's what you want to do. I already got these pre-loosened because I wanted to make sure they would come out. But take those two out, pull it all apart. Once you get her pulled apart, she'll kind of look like this. And the new brake kit comes with 2 new shoes. Now, you'll notice that one of them has 2 of the brake squeakers on, one of them has 1 of them. And you'll figure out which one goes which direction, because that's the hard part to figure out, because don't slide over it quite right, the one with 2. But before you get there, take this fancy dealio right here. Your old one will have a bunch of rusty ones that are all beat up. You can't really put them on backwards because, see, there's skinny, you see there's fat. Pretty much it. So for everybody wondering what that squeaky noise is you hear when your brakes get bad, that's that thingy. So as I was saying, is go on there a certain way, and if you look at the way this is, that squeaker will not clear that side. So you got to make sure to flip that one around and you put it over here on this side. Now this one's only got 1. I don't know if I can do this while you're watching. Yep. See how it clears that real nice and pretty right there? See how that side's a little lower? So you got to make sure you put them on the right direction, which this is actually the back of your brake. The back side, and that would be your front side if it helps it explain it a little bit better. That'll show you after I kind of get them stuck together. So that's kind of what it looks like once you get them kind of set in there. And then what you're going to do is literally flip it upside down and set it into your caliper, all fancy like. And you could probably, wouldn't have to take this apart, probably still get it together, but it just makes it a lot easier. And there's your little pieces that you stuck in there, all fancy like. And then also, if you don't have a new one and you have an old one, you'll have to get a C-clamp and compress these. And usually what I'll do is I'll stick an old brake shoe in there, and I'll use that brake shoe and a C-clamp, compress them all the way down, so you get all the room you can for the new brakes to go on. So there's your C-clamp. That's how I do it. And I use the old brake shoe, so you don't screw up the new brake shoes, and you don't screw up your seals on here or anything else. And you just give it a little turn-a-rooney, it pushes it in. As you can see, here's the old one. Like I said, this one had issues with. See how far it sticks out? You have to push that back in to make sure you got plenty of room to go back around your rotor when you put it on. Pretty simple. So this is how that is. See, I got the bolt started back on. So for people that don't know how it works, this is how your brakes center themselves. As your piston pushes here, it keeps the pressure evenly on each side. Now, you could probably get away with pulling this all apart without taking them out of there, but most of the time, they're so corroded and so beat up on the inside of there that you can't get them apart. And you just spend a lot more time swearing and throwing things than actually getting them apart. So I just always just take them out and pull them apart. Throw a little grease on them, because if you got an old rig like I got with multiple hundreds of thousands of miles on it, pull it apart, put some grease on it, help it out, put some new little slides in there. Makes everything work a little bit better. Next thing you do is you set her on the old caliper there. You can see I got the top bolt started. I couldn't show you that with. Get that top bolt started, it'll kind of just hang there. And then you can get down and get your bottom one started. And sometimes they go right in. Sometimes you got to give it a little wibble wobble. Oh, there we go. Kind of hard to show you what I'm doing here, but you can see how it, got to get her lined up in the right spot there, or it will not go in. And buzz them down, and you're set. If you didn't have to put a new caliper on it and you didn't take your brake line off, you don't have to bleed it. But if you're like me and you ran into the troubles I had, got to put your brake line on her, and you have to use the bleeder, which I won't show you that. I'll show you that maybe in another video when we got to do that, but that's pretty much it. Just wanted to add this, clip it in there. You always hear everybody complaining about losing their 10 millimeters. Well, I just broke mine. Good, focus. There you go. There you go. Your junk 10 millimeters. Either run off or you break them.